Detroit is both one of the most vexing problems facing urban America and one of the great opportunities facing urban America. And what Kresge has tried to do is position itself at the intersection of those. We've tried to be very hard-headed about what are the investments we can make in Detroit that will actually help stabilize the community and sort of create the predisposition for moving forward. We really have to do some things that are bold, that are meaningful, and that will take root and last. And so I think in many ways what Detroit does is permit us to act out a theory of philanthropy that we believe in strongly. First, philanthropy should have the opportunity to sort of take things whole, sort of look at the whole system, try to figure out how the pieces fit, and we've done that by helping the city think about a long-term master plan, a different way of using its land, a different way of thinking about the delivery of public services. Second, philanthropy ought to use a whole spectrum of tools. So we are. We're not just making grants for buildings, and we're not just making grants to support nonprofit organizations. We're trying to put money on the line for a new light rail system. We're trying to encourage young talent to move into the community. Third, philanthropy has to take risks, and in Detroit there are lots of risks to be taken. And so we're exploring all through the community and really every nook and cranny, where will capital not generally flow and where can Kresge make a difference. Fourth and finally, philanthropy really has an obligation to make sure the plight of low-income people doesn't just sort of fall off the charts. That as we pursue revitalization and pursue opportunity for the broader community, that we create pathways of opportunity for low-income people into the new economy. We've created a whole set of gestures around small business formation, community business formation, putting people to work in small ways all through the community. So I think when you put all of those things together, the seeing things whole, the using multiple tools, the taking of risk, and the elevation of the plight of low-income communities, I think you have a sort of a whole that makes some sense and really defines a role for Kresge to play in Detroit. The only other thing I would say is that it's not just Kresge's role, it's the role of philanthropy generally, and so we've been eager to partner with the Ford Foundation and the Kellogg Foundation, other national foundations, as well as a whole cohort of local foundations of deep commitment and high talent, the Skillman Foundation, the McGregor Fund, and others. It's an exciting time, and I think we're pretty optimistic that we're going to make a difference. The biggest challenge is how can philanthropy help the public sector develop the capacity to take on these enormously complex challenges. And it's not just going to come from within the public sector, and it's certainly not going to come from just within philanthropy. What is required is a broad civic buy-in to a larger agenda, where everyone sort of gets in their lane, everyone sort of pulls in the same direction, everyone tries to marshal the kinds of resources we need in order to make real progress. We see it every day. You see it in little community gardens that are sprinkling up all through Detroit. You see it in small arts projects that are sort of redefining entire communities. You see it in the spirit of people really wanting to build a light rail system and figuring out what that's going to mean for the stops all up and down the line. I mean, it's just endless, and I think the possibilities are actually quite exciting. It's a big, big load to pull, but I think this community's up to it.